collapsing on this bottom side. Credit to Dark Passage here in their defensive warding inside of River and around that blue buff. Might not help them though, because Clearlove's coming in. Look at this, there's 3 men in there. They do get spotted out. Clearlove dives to the front. It's 1 versus 3 as the rest of the team do finally join in. Holy Phoenix goes down. There's a TP from Fabulous. Here comes you though. Where is the shockwave? There it is. It pulls both of them back in. You get the 1 kill for the Rampage. Touch is going to fall. That's a double now for you. And Naru tried to help out there, but was sent packing instead. And that is 3 kills for EDG. Possibly a tower with this next minion wave.
Yep, shoving up 2 lanes right now. They didn't even need Koro for that team fight. Doing his best to get that mid lane into the turret as well. Gonna be a secondary here for EDG.
Yeah, Naru, oh, Clearlove coming around the backside of him. He's got the stun ready and waiting. Oh, flashed it out of it. Nicely done. That will save him for now, but it will not keep the tower safe. Mid lane, meanwhile, you do see Koro. He's rotating around. He's going to join the rest of his team. They now have 5 members down the bottom here. They could keep the pressure on.
See a recall here from a couple of members of EDG, but all of a sudden that gold lead moving up towards 9,000. It's a big lead that they've built up, just trying to catch those guys that were recalling. FCZF just escapes in front of Crystal's eyes. Nothing that Crystal could do to stop that one, but DP actually trying to get some deeper wards in here. Let's have another look at that one, and again, it's Clearlove stealthed up.
Yeah, look at that pause. He pauses right here too because his ultimate reveals, oh, there's more people in this bush than we thought. But after taking stock of the situation, yes, we will take this 3-on-3. Immediately targeting Lucian, and he goes down so quickly. Teleport is canceled because he knows they're outnumbered and the AD carry has already gone down. So a good cancel there by Fabulous. Able to at least make sure that he doesn't die as well.
Interesting to see how the stacks are building actually on FCZF. They must be starting to clock in there. He got that a while ago and he's definitely picked up a chunk. It's already at 6, so that is not quite money worth. It's when he gets to 8, I believe it is, the actual count on that one. I'm sure people in the world of Reddit and Twitter will correct me if I'm wrong. So, EDG, big advantage, expected honestly, but Dark Passage, they started off, well, this is a good early showing, but no surprises. Crystal caught out, oh, gets away by the Lantern. Nice.
Yeah, he was trying to stand on top of it there to prevent him going back, but not quite working out for him. And again, it's Clearlove that tries to make those plays with that Rengar ultimate. This Dragon not going to be challenged by Dark Passage, and that will bring the gold almost to 10,000 here for EDG. So look down the scoreboard, you having a great game at 5-0-1. Deathcap, Athene's Void Staff now added in as well. We've got that Blade of the Ruin King on Namek.
Yeah.
Other side, there's a Ghost Blade Infinity for Holy Phoenix, but I'm not sure that he can just trade with him at this point.
No, I mean, Trinity Force and Blade turn your AD carry into a much more substantial fighter. Kog'Maw here, he's got so many different speed boosts to rely on at this point, and so many sources of sort of burst damage there with the active as well from Blade that it's even going to be sort of scary for Fabulous to jump in on him now.
This is where the split push can work out for DP, because that's really their only saving light right now. But the problem is, they need to be 5 members to prevent this EDG powerhouse pushing through. Fabulous, we haven't really seen him other than that opening aggression. You can see him down the bottom. Yes, he's probably going to get this inner turret, outer turret, but going to lose an inner for it.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone with that Hydra that we talked about. He can split push very quickly. He does have the evolved spike rack, but as you said, a bottom outer turret, not quite worth the Baron control that EDG are setting up right now. Notice how deep the wards EDG are placing right now. The full red side jungle lit up for them. They've got lane pressure as well. Even Name and FCZF keeping the rest of Dark Passage busy right now.
This is an easy Baron. Well controlled, 2-man Baron. They're going to get a little bit of support from Koro towards the end, but Clearlove has done all of the hard work. Baron is secured for EDG. So, big advantage. Objective Dragon and Baron taken by them, 4 towers to 2. And Dark Passage are slowly being suffocated back into their base.
Gonna be a very hard comeback for Dark Passage. This is you know, the scenario that they really needed to avoid, falling too far behind. And I think this is what happens a lot, that, you know, if the underdog team, actually we'll just forget this because EDG are going to go in for this one. They've actually got towards Touch and just gets blown to pieces. Crystal actually going for the absolute zero. The Culling coming back, but it hardly dents Koro, especially with Command Protect on him. And that's another turret going down. Second inner turret for Edward Gaming. Fabulous doesn't want to stick around there. They will jump on you if you're not careful. But my point was that this, I think, happens often when you have a big favorite in a game, that a lane phase can be close, but you really see the skill gap difference between the two teams as the game progresses, and things just snowball out of control.
Yeah, EDG completely playing by the books here. They've cleaned up the map right now. Now they can easily siege up here. They do have the Kog'Maw, so it's easy for him to get a shield, activate his W, a couple of long-range hits, and you cannot really engage on this EDG team. There's so many options for them to peel for Name. It's ridiculous to try and get to the backlines. That's why you can see Fabulous is not even thinking about jumping in. They're just trying to pelt them. Xerath and Kha'Zix trying to do as much poke as they can. Lucian's Culling coming back up soon, so they may be able to Culling one more wave, but that's about it.
Name just stood waiting. He's like, yeah, you're not going to hit me. I'm not moving, just going to relax, just chill here. Pushes forward, takes himself another turret for his team. And you talked about it, obviously, the difference in this one. I think it was really all about that bottom fight. You know, Dark Passage came out on top, but the instant reaction from EDG to come straight in, take the Dragon, pick up 2 kills, and that is really the difference, the instant reaction, the instant decisiveness of the teams between them. And EDG obviously far more experienced, despite Dark Passage being the big Turkish champions. You know, they've won heavily in their region. The fact is, the Chinese region is a much stronger region. EDG have dominated since their creation back in the spring.
One thing that I have noticed about watching both EDG and Royal Club, it's very hard for their opponents to find times to return to base for healing or purchasing. You know, anytime they get an item breakpoint, it's very hard for them to work in the small window of time to actually go back to base. Just basing against these teams is an objective in itself. And EDG, they finish that Dragon before the replay's even up. And then they clean up some extra kills because you're trying to get there in time to answer what they've already started.
Continuing to use this Baron, just a minute left on it. They're going to see if they can take maybe an inhibitor turret. They've got the top lane being pushed in by Koro. And this 4-1 split, sorry, is going to work well in their favor. Can they catch anyone off? You can see Clearlove stood on a ward. Will spot that one, sweeps it out. Ultimate being used by Naru just to keep them at bay and throw everything they can at Name. But he's quite confident that he's going to survive through that one. The shielding from FZZF keeping him safe, and now they're just seeing if they can draw anyone into the jungle. I don't think Dark Passage are foolish enough to fall for it, though.
Well, they'll probably die if they do. See there, Touch warding over the top of the wall, and Koro just walking between middle and top lane here, pushing that wave out once again, and they're just going to go straight in. The box used so early there from Touch. They do manage to hook in Clearlove. Can they burst him down? Less than half HP remaining, but he's able to walk away. That turret going low. Now they will get the kill on towards Nunu, and that is the inhib turret going down. They do hook in Clearlove once again. There's the shockwave onto Fabulous. You right at the front here, and that will force them off. Inhib going to EDG.
Pretty easy cleanup for them. I mean, they don't have to even dive. You know, just Clearlove popping his ultimate there. Name easily can hit the turret from range and they can play it safe, but they're just so far ahead that they can just bully their way right into the base. One inhibitor down means that the second push will be that much easier. They've got plenty of money to spend here. Go up and fill up their pockets with the extra Dragon Gold.
Suffocation, the name of their game, and you can see it up to the 10-minute mark. Good start by Dark Passage, but EDG patiently played it out and then just slowly turned the screws as the game developed and used every little bit of their advantage they've had. Successful ganks along the way. Still really yet to see. This Kha'Zix, of course, you know, picked in that split pushing, but it's just nothing to do for him right now. He's trying to keep them at bay, but they have such a good team comp, such a strong, solid team comp.
Yep.
You know, the big tanky frontliner, the brawler coming in from Clearlove, double shielding for Name to keep basically the superstar of the team completely safe.
And that's why it'll be a pretty easy siege for them for the secondary inhibitor. They don't actually have to wait for Baron. They've got complete control of the area, and they could set up wards and go for another pick. But they could just as easily go up and siege another inhibitor turret right now. Looks like they are making that call. Top will be the target. Name gonna come up mid. Maybe he'll clean up one more minion wave and swing over to the rest of the team. Dark Passage, this is their chance. While Name is mid, maybe they can make some sneak attack work for them.
Oh, last roll of the dice and Fabulous shows himself.
Well, they've got a pink ward here, so they're just gonna try and wait it out. They don't have too many options. No. Everybody run!
Yeah, they kind of caught on to the fact Clearlove here, all on his own. He's just going in for this one. But Fabulous will try and join in. The box comes down, and Dark Passage just scared of Clearlove as he dives right on top of them. And that really opens things up now. EDG moving towards this top lane. I really like the fact that Banshees and Randuins is picked up there by Clearlove. With the fact that Naru can just blow up these waves, they realize that actually Clearlove and the rest of the team kind of have to dive to get in there to start these off. And there we see once again the shockwave comes in. Naru going to be blown to pieces. Crystal will also get picked off. That's 2 men down for Dark Passage.
Holy Phoenix going to get focused. Fabulous trying to lead them away. And Name has by far the damage to deal with him. That is a triple kill picked up by you. 4 members of Dark Passage down, and EGG will close out the game here. FCZF just bursting that monsoon down to top everyone off so they can walk in and tank down the turret. Dominant performance from EDG as they progress from the lane phase. 17 kills to 2. I don't think this is any surprise to anyone in this matchup, but Dark Passage, it's a good start from them in lane that can take something from this one. They played against the #1 team in China.
They did, man. They held their own in the very early game as well. Man, actually, both of the Kha'Zix and Rengar ended up level 16. They almost, I think the hunt might have just started off there. Did Clearlove win the hunt as soon as it started? Split seconds, we'll have to go back and look at that replay.
Well, it's another win here coming in for EDG. I say another win. That's only their second game. And they lost the first game against Samsung White.
They've won games in the past, Joe, so technically you're not wrong.
Exactly.
I'll give it to you.
They've won another game in history.
Another game.
For sure. It's been 2 incredibly action-packed days as well, so forgive me for that one. For Dark Passage, of course, not exactly the ideal start to things, but, you know, this is also a big experience for them. They're from a new region, we can definitely say, with Turkey. They've dominated that region as well, and this was kind of the next step for them. Come out on the international stage after winning Wildcard very impressively. And to be honest, yes, they've just lost to EDG, but we're talking about EDG here. This is no easy team by any means.
And all the teams that did come to Korea to bootcamp for Worlds for this group stage got so much extra time to practice against all of these very high caliber teams. Dark Passage didn't actually come over for those boot camps like everybody else did. So, you know, practicing against the other teams that were left in Europe, not quite the same amount of training. So these actual games here of the group stages, this is basically the highest quality training that they can get against these very, very tough opponents where they can learn a lot from these different map movements from EDG.
And one thing we should take away from this, obviously, for Edward Gaming is, yes, they do look very good. They are a solid team. This is what we expected. They are the #1 seed from China, of course, and we had already heard rumblings before this tournament even began that they were giving Korean teams a very good run for their money. So, honestly, they are up there in the favorites. I'd love to see what, you know, if there was odds going on with them, how high they would be, because they've beaten the Samsung Whites of the world in scrims, but they can't quite do it on paper just yet, but they took them very close.
And let's be honest, it was only the one single game, the second time that they meet, which will, funnily enough, be the final game of the group.
Yes.
It's going to be a very, very interesting one to watch. And now there's a break in the action. Make sure you guys head over to Twitter, that's where it is, and share your favorite moments from today's games by tweeting #World'sBigPlays to @LOL Esports. But now, let's check in with our analyst desk to get their thoughts on that win.
Thank you very much, guys. I think the result that everybody was anticipating or expecting. We'll talk about the positives first. Dark Passage, they did come out. They did pick up first blood and aggressive bottom lane, and for the first 10 minutes, held even, but that's EDG. EDG are always slow out of the gate. Before we talk about gameplay, picks and bans. What was Dark Passage thinking about their team comp in your mind, Crepo?
I mean, they were just going for comfort picks, and they just say like, okay, I like playing this into this and this into this, and yeah, the Kha'Zix top, maybe that's a cheese aspect. Lucian Thresh is a really aggressive bot lane. You can still surprise even the best players if you flash flay into hook, into exhaust, and hopefully kill them over and over again. And that was their only hope to win. And I know probably has a thing or two to say about Xerath and Nunu combo. So
yeah, so I did like their picks and bans in a way because I think that was their best chance of winning. They picked favorable matchups, and especially the mid lane, it sounds really goofy, but Orianna has no escape. So if Nunu walks up and snowballs you, Xerath gets all his free poken, and that can kind of snowball a lane and snowball a lot of pressure for your team.
Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
At the other side, though, I really like EDG's comp. I think it's really a little bit too much late game focused, and against better teams, you can get punished early. But look at it. It's Maokai, Rengar, Orianna, Kog'Maw, Janna. It has double engage from Maokai and Rengar. It has triple peel from Maokai, Orianna, and Janna. And in the back line, who you're peeling for? The best hyper scaling carry, Kog'Maw. So I really like the composition as is, but I think it can get abused in lane a little bit too much. But I think it was a solid comp.
I think it's very much EDG style. You know, Dark Passage, they started strong, as you said. They did pick up that first blood. Mechanically, they made some mistakes as the game went on. They could have got more.
But it wouldn't have mattered.
I feel the same. What was EDG doing right that actually helped them pick up the win? I know in the mid lane, you managed to 1v1 Naru. What else about the team, sort of stood out in your mind, Prolly?
I thought the most important thing was once they took the mid turret, the Janna and the Rengar pushed up all the vision, and at that point, Xerath can't farm, and then their bot lane can't farm. So it almost snowballed all the gold lead to a point where now the enemies can't farm, and you get to farm whatever you want. So it kind of kept Dark Passage from ever getting a foothold in that game.
So, Edward Gaming will be playing off against AHQ in the last game of the day. Is there anything from this matchup that AHQ can learn to maybe take away, look for ways to take down the #1 shiny seed?
If they open themselves up for too much of a late game composition and are this week early, then maybe they can lose the early game. But I mean, they're solid. They've played these type of compositions before. They know exactly what they have to give up in order to just not lose the game straight up. But that would probably be AHQ's only hope.
I do think AHQ is going to be able to see a lot from them banning Syndra on blue side. I thought that was really interesting. They didn't want to pick it for themselves. They wanted to ban it out, and I think AHQ is going to be able to pick something aggressive mid lane and kind of be able to catch them off guard.
Oh, we'll see if they decide to take that route. We are going to switch gears for a minute to see how all the fans are enjoying the action out of Taipei. To remind you, earlier in the show, we asked the Twitter sphere, how do you guys worlds? And our first response comes from @itson2d over in Sweden, who shows us how he worlds with his buddies at Umeå University in Sweden.
Somewhere in Sweden.
I'm trying. Yeah, I can't do that. Anyways, our next one comes from @Peachy, who shows us how she and her future League of Legends protege watch the games. And finally, @Gardner BO2 shows us how they world in the United States Navy, where it's not just a job, it's an adventure. Great. Thanks for those photos, guys, and thanks again for sending them in. Remember, you can share how you world by tweeting your photos to us at LOL Esports. We've got more action coming your way. Next up, it is China's Starhorn Royal Club taking on the SK Gaming from the European LCS in Game 3 here of Day 2. We're going to check in on the teams very quickly. Starhorn Royal Club watching all the matches from the sidelines, now waiting for their team, their turn to take the stage. TSM, they're in the building. We'll see what they can do.
Is that their substitute?
And now they might go down as well. Solo burn from the rail. From Fabulous comes down.
Good flash, counter flash. Holy Phoenix trading with him. Hasn't got enough. I'm not sure. The culling going through, but no. Nami takes it down, and now Touch is in trouble.
Where is the shockwave? There it is. It pulls both of them back in. You get the 1 kill for the Rampage. Touch is going to fall. That's a double now for you.
Welcome back to day 2 of the 2014 League of Legends World Championship. I'm Efi Shogzuportra here with Samsung White's AD carry, Imp. Imp, the first thing I want to ask you is that in the video leading up to this in Road to Worlds, you talked about how it was a failure last year. Try and express how bad you want the title this time around.
그 작년 월드컵 때 이제 삼성 5존 팀으로서 좀 살짝 실패를 겪었었는데 이번 월드컵에 임하는 각오 좀 들려주세요.
저번 시즌에 저희가 되게 자만을 많이 하고 무너지게 됐는데 이번 시즌에는 팀원들이 그때 탈락한 이후로 한마음이 되어 지금까지 연습을 열심히 했기 때문에 저번 시즌과 같은 일은 일어나지 않을 거라 생각해요.
For last year Worlds, I think we are a bit too overconfident. But after we lost last year, as a team, we really worked hard and we really want to win this tournament.
Well, you mentioned it yourself about being overconfident. You had a great first day yesterday. How do you keep yourself from maybe going down that path again?
이제 그 자만심에 대해 얘기하셨는데 어제 1일차 때 되게 완벽하게 2대0으로 승리 거뒀잖아요. 근데 작년 같은 실수를 저지르지 않기 위해서는 어떻게 해야 할지 좀 설명해 주세요.
작년과 같은 실수보다는 저희가 그 작년 이후로 정말 지금까지 열심히 연습해왔기 때문에 해왔기 때문에 일어나지 않을 거라 생각해요. 꾸준히 열심히 해오면 뭐라 해야 되나?
We practiced really hard, and I think with that practice amount, I think we can stay confident and to remain to win this tournament. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the AD carries in the scene. Last year it was Piglet that got all the fame as Korean ADC, as maybe the best, and they brought home that world championship. How much do you want that people call you that?
작년 롤드컵 때는 이제 피글렛 선수가 SKT1 K팀이 우승하면서 최고의 원딜러로서 꼽혔는데 어떻게 이번 대회 때는 그 자리가 탐나나요?
작년 롤드컵 때까지는 피글렛 선수가 세계 최고의 원거리 딜러였다고 생각해요. 피글렛 선수는 작년 롤드컵 때 자기가 더 돋보일 수 있음에도 불구하고 막 팀의 승리를 위해 더 열심히 그런 플레이를 했기 때문에 SK가 작년에 우승을 차지할 수 있었던 것 같다고 생각하고 저도 이번 시즌에 피글렛 선수처럼 제가 돋보이기보다는 팀의 승리를 위해서 공헌하고 싶습니다.
So I think up to last year Worlds, Piglet was the best ADC. It's because during the games he put his team in front of him and he sacrificed for his team's victory. And also for this year Worlds, I want to do the same thing. I want to focus more on winning rather than my own fame.
So does that mean when some people and casters maybe put Name ahead of you and as AD carry or best AD carry in the tournament, that doesn't bother you at all?
그럼 그렇게 치자면 이번 월드컵 들어가기 전에 앞서서 많은 사람들이 나메이가 최고의 원딜러라고 꼽았는데 그게 좀 신경 쓰이지 않으세요?
저는 그렇게 생각하지 않아요. 나메이 선수가 최고의 원거리 딜러라고. 저 같은 경우에는 일단 어제 경기에서 저를 이기지 못했고 저 같은 경우에는 제가 생각하기에 한국에서 라인전이 되게 약한 원거리 딜러라고 생각하는데 그런 저에게도 좋고 만약 남메이 선수가 최고의 원거리 딜러라는 이름을 가지고 싶으면 일단 저를 꺾고 8강에서 데프트를 만나 꺾어야 그때 최고의 딜러라고 말해야 그때 최고의 원거리 딜러라고 말해도 늦지 않을 것 같다 생각합니다.
So I don't agree that Name is the best ADC. Yesterday when we played against him, he lost to me, and I'm not that much of a lane bully among the Korean ADCs. So in order for Name to become the best ADC, I think he has to beat me and Deft, and then maybe he can reclaim that title.
Well, we will see if he can pull that off. Thank you very much. All right, now to preview our next match, let's send it over to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Shock. Some strong words there from Imp, as usual, I think. All right, it is time for our third match of the day. It's a battle between the Starhorn Royal Club from the LPL and Europe's SK Gaming. So for Starhorn Royal Club, they got off to a strong 2-0 start. They remain the front runners of Group B, but it was not an easy start yesterday. They really had to bounce back against TPA, who pushed them around in the early game. What do you think, Prolly?
I think Starhorn really just doesn't care about the early game. They're really ready to make their team comps work. They do the support mids and then strong carries top. They're not just doing Maokai, tanky tops. So this actually really accentuates boom team comps, You think about it, normally when you have a tank top, you see the two threats as being the mid lane and the bot lane. Starhorn's coming at it with 3 threats, with the top, mid, and bot coming at him.
You can't ignore the jungle threat either.
Yeah, I mean, their jungle's really good as well. But what's interesting to me as well, you talk about the team comps and whatnot, is, and the early game especially, is you've got this really interesting cycle in this group where TSM beat SK early game, SK beat TPA early game, TPA beat Royal Club early game, and Royal Club beat TSM early game. And you've got this circle where they're all doing different things to each other in the beginning of the game, and so you can't call, like, the beginning for any given team here, which is very confounding, because you normally have like a really good idea of how those teams are supposed to stack up in the laning phase. But ultimately, yes, like I think Royal Club come in here with really amazing mid game, as you come to expect from them, and that's been killer.
And Insec was killer. He single-handedly destroyed TSM yesterday with his Rengar. We switched over gears a little bit talking about junglers in this matchup because Gilius earlier today, he stepped up. In contrast from yesterday today, he's definitely impressed. So between Insec, who's playing for Royal Club, and looking at Gilius and what he did earlier and helping SK's early game, how are we going to see that jungle matchup play out? Let's start with Prolly.
I think the biggest thing is, I always come back to it, I think the mid lane. I think Gilius and Jezz are starting to get it together a bit, and I think that's where the jungle pressure is going to be. It's going to be mid lane. And for Starhorn side, I feel like it's going to be more of waiting for the dragons and for the grouping phase for the jungler really to shine.
Yeah. And I can't really agree with you enough about the mid lane focus for SK Gaming, because when I think back to their prior game today, they had actually sacrificed their pick and ban phase to get a good mid lane out there. They picked their Tristana and Sona first round to see what the enemy mid laner was, saw it was Syndra, and said, okay, great, Ahri and Jarvan great gank synergy, great follow-up on a low mobility mid laner to make sure they can get the kills. And you saw Gilius repeatedly have strong ganks there. I think that's going to continue to be the focus for SK.
Let's see if it's going to be enough, because it's time for our experts to play Oracle, predict who they think will win the match, starting with Starhorn Royal Club or SK Gaming. I want to know, Freak, who is walking away with a victory here?
I think it's Starhorn Royal Club. They're still my #1 for the group. I think they're going to come out undefeated, and they've got to beat SK to do that, so it's going to happen.
And Prolly?
I'm going to say SK will win the early game, and then Starhorn will take the game overall.
Okay, all right, let's see if it works out. You guys at home have been sharing your picks over on lolesports.com, and the majority of you are also siding with the Starhorn Royal Club and seeing that they will come out on top. Let's see if it actually happens. Teams are ready for the Rift, so as we send it over to our casters, Starhorn Royal Club's team has been undergoing an evolution with the addition of its 2 Korean players, and while they're still adjusting to communication issues, they believe it is change that will set them up for long-term success.
안녕하세요. 로얄의 서포터를 맡고 있는 제로라고 합니다. 일단은 제가 로얄 클럽에 오게 된 계기는 코치님하고 인석이 형하고 먼저 로얄 클럽에 가게 됐는데 그 후에 저까지 포함해서 제가 테스트를 볼 수 있게 계기를 만들어 주셨어요.
经过了一段时间，我们联系了韩国那边的俱乐部，然后引入2名韩国选手跟1个韩国教练嘛。这个阵容对我来说我是比较满意的。
我们说中文他们听不懂嘛，他们说韩文我们也听不懂。
웬만한 고 하나로도 좀 고 하나로 많이 쓰는데 뭐 벽에 블루를 찍고 고라고 하면 이제 블루 컨트롤 하러 가자는 뜻이고 용을 찍고 고라고 하면 용 먹으러 가자는 뜻이고 그냥 그런 식으로 간단한 용어로 이제 좀 많이 해서 그냥 서로 알아듣게 하는
感觉挺好的吧，因为我们都知道韩国选手挺厉害的，最怕的问题就是他不知道怎么跟他交流这个团战啊，或者是对线怎么打。
소통 문제 때문에 좀 더 친해지기 위해서 여러 가지 막 뭐 다른 이제 경기 말고 다른 같은 LOL로 하는 게임이지만 이제 다른 방식으로 승리를 취하는 걸로 이렇게 재미있게 팀 내 이벤트도 해보고 했었는데 그런 부분에서 영향이 그런 부분이 이렇게 효과가 없진 않았지만 어쨌든 간에
我觉得我们最近打得比较好的原因，可能是因为默契越来越好了。虽然交流上不方便，可是配合的时间长了，默契就会变得越来越好。
저희가 대회 때 LPL 때 백도 했던 게 제일 기억나요. 이 디비전.
当时因赛尔先发了一个信号，然后我们就心照不宣的觉得要偷基地，很多人就都跟过去了。
我们目标不是就这一年的 S4嘛，我们还有 S5、S6， 对不对？
Great to hear the ins and outs, really, of the communication there in the team. And interesting, the final note in that one, that they're not only looking at Season 4, but Season 5 and even Season 6 as well.
Yeah, this is a team that's looking to the future, and we obviously heard from them earlier on, you know, Hiddensek obviously in the interview, and clear to point out that there is no problems within this team. Obviously, there was a lot of reports externally, internally, maybe before this tournament began, but very much clear to say we are playing as a unit right now and we are here to win.
Yeah, they're in it for the long haul. And also, I was talking to some of the refs, actually, who do get to listen in on the comms now. They actually speak in 3 different languages because they do have that simplified English, but sometimes in the heat of the moment, it breaks down and they use their native languages. And so that kind of separates the team, right? You would think that may be another reason for why Insec often ganks bottom lane.
I think there's a lot of goes going on in those team fights. But guys, let's check out the 2 teams on the blue side representing China's LPL, the Starhorn Royal Club, with Kohler in the top lane, Insec in the jungle, Korn in mid, Yuzi the AD carry, and Zero on support. I almost said Uzi.
I've not heard Yuzi yet. That's a new one on me.
Yeah.
Over on the red side, it is, of course, SK Gaming from the European LCS. That means Freddy122 is in the top lane. Gilius possibly in his final match in the jungle. Jesus as the mid laner. Candy Panda on AD carry, and then Rated on support.
I did it a bunch yesterday, Joe. Right after we found
you made
out.
the point.
Yeah, you're the one who made the point, man. You're the one that went out on a limb. You're the one that talked to him. It is Uzi.
It's hard to break that habit.
It is
drilled it into our heads
habit.
with the prep.
We made sure, and then we go and speak to him, and he says, no, it's this way. It's just, oh.
That's how it falls sometimes.
All right.
Let's talk about the game here, though, because this is an important one for SK Gaming, I think more than, I mean, every game's important here.
You don't want to be 0-3 though. That's
you don't want to be 0-3, and then looking at your last 3 games, thinking we have to win every single one of those. I want to start off with saying that that last game from SK Gaming was a marked improvement on the 2 previous ones.
Yeah, definitely a marked improvement on especially that early game. So we'll see what they do this time around with Gilius, because facing Starhorn Royal Club, obviously Insect's Rengar is a big target here. So that's probably going to be a ban. Don't think Gilius would be confident bringing that one into the playing field here.
Everybody coming against SK Gaming has one thing clearly in their mind. Freddy, we're banning you out. Nidalee and Aatrox once again. Will we see another Maokai ban maybe against them? Because Freddy has just been forced onto this Mundo every game.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's worked for everybody else. So every consecutive team that plays them is just going to keep using it until they actually see a different result here.
And Freddy, you know, he's come such a long way. If you think back to spring last year with Against Law Authority, it wasn't that impressive at all, but he's really made his mark in SK Gaming. And again, 3 bans targeted at Freddy, which means that, you know, the likelihood of a possible Mundo coming out for him again is real. We see Zed banned away there as the final ban.
Interesting choice here for Royal Club, because they have very high priority on both Ryze and Zilean for their team. Zilean, just because of the way they like to play with their top lane threat, as they mentioned on the Analyst X, plus their jungle and their bottom lane and their mid. It kind of enables everybody to go very aggressive. But the other one is Ryze for that top lane, and there we go. He already switches over to it. It's not going to be the Jax or Aurelia that he also likes, but Ryze definitely a very big flex pick for these guys. It still could go mid, and they have the option of pulling out that Aurelia still.
Were SK Gaming baited into that one? They instantly lock in that Zilean and say, no, we're having it.
Yes, I don't think it is a bait, because, I mean, the mousing over it, Royal Club definitely do have a high priority on that champion, but they're happy giving that up this time for Ryze.
Well, you say that, but Jesus has not played Zilean this season.
Nor is N-rated if you're looking
No,
at
it's a takeaway. I mean, it's a high priority for Royal Club.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's taken away, but who's going to play it? Is it going to be N-rated? Is it going to be Jesus? The Kha'Zix, of course, was locked in. It's something we saw Gilius on previously with Unicorns of Love as well. Ooh.
Nah, he did it yesterday as well. He's just playing.
Sadly for us, as we are, we're going to see that Janna coming out. What is Insect going to go for? Lee Sin is the obvious choice here, and it will be locked in. Janna also been picked up by Zero for that bottom lane.
Obviously, the roar goes up from the crowd. Everybody loves to see Insect on Lee Sin. However, he's playing this into a Zilean, and if you try and pull one of his classic moves in that late game, you kick somebody in, that guy's going to have a Zilean ult on. They're going to get that Zilean ult down. The problem is, can you extract that guy when he gets back up?
Well, we'll see how it works out. Of course, the Janna, once again, for Zero this time around, starting to become very popular at Worlds here. You can see 75% win rate, 4 games already picked out. What will SK go with? Is it going to be the Twitch? It's all about positioning. Has Candy Panda got it in him to play so well against such an aggressive Starhorn Royal Club team? That answers a few questions though. Zilean is support, and it will be Syndra in the middle for Jesus.
So SK may actually be looking for a lane swap, even though they're working with a substitute jungler. Lane swap's really hard to pull off with substitutes on your team. Everybody does have to be coordinated and down with the times. Everybody has to be on that same page. But, you know, with them going up against Uzi as their opponents in the lane, and with them having Twitch, lane swap's looking like a real possibility here for SK early on.
Yeah, I don't know about Syndra for Jesus. He's played it once all season. Trouble. Could be dangerous. We are going to be seeing Yasuo locked in here.
How did we get through the ban phase without talking about the most bans against them, always focused against Korn with his Fizz and his Yasuo? 24 bans against the Yasuo and 20 on Fizz. Both of them get through. He gets his pick of the litter, saves it till the end. And we do get to see Korn on the famous Yasuo.
This is actually possible. This could be the first showing of Gnar, but looking by the cheeky grin on Chris's face, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, you say that. Gnar is actually a champion you can use to split push effectively. Freddy does love that style of play. And Gnar also does bring a lot of team fight crowd control. He can lock you down when he gets the ultimate. Okay, never mind. We'll stop talking about it.
Being the lip reading master that I am, Freddy was saying, I can't play it. I can't play it. I can't play it. Which is obviously an issue when it comes to, you know, the World Championship and just taking picks that you can't play.
Nobody can really play it right now, let's face it.
There's a whole list of people. I was talking to a whole bunch of top laners back in North America that are saying, yeah, they really thought it was going to make an appearance here at Worlds. Somebody was going to bring it out as a surprise. But as you said, you know, in the boot camps, people were trying to refine strategies. They weren't trying to learn new champions that they could bring out. And Gnar is definitely something that takes a long time to actually learn how to play well and learn to play with your team because of the unstable nature of the champion. All right, well, we can get off that now, though, because they're not going to use it.
So let's look at the team comps. What do we got going for us here? Because the Yasuo has snuck through. Surprise! I mean, as you mentioned, 24 bans against Starholm Royal Club throughout the summer and the playoffs. And how did he not get focused by SK?
In the research that all teams are going to do against Royal Club, the two things pop out to you in ban phase are Korn and Insect. So you ban out the Rengar, oftentimes the Lee Sin, and the two for Korn are the Fizz and the Yasuo. That's 4 bans, so everybody always has to sort of pick and choose between those. But because they opted for, you know, the Alistar they didn't want to give away, and then the Zed coming out here for SK, they had to give them all up. And it's going to be very scary for them because these are comfort picks for Starhorn Royal Club. And them on comfortable champions when you're the ones with a substitute on your team makes for a pretty awkward situation.
Well, we are going to be getting into game then for this one. It is, of course, Starhorn Royal Club versus SK Gaming. And as ever, you can also tweet to us at LOL Esports with SHR win or SK win using those hashtags. And we'll figure out how that vote goes a little bit later on. But for now, into an important game specifically for SK. Already 0 for 2. And they've got a formidable opponent here with, honestly, some pretty formidable comfort picks as well.
Yeah, I mean, Insect known for the champion, and as we already went over, Korn very big for Anya. So maybe it signals a little bit of lack of preparation from SK. Or maybe they have perfect things to deal with it. Now, the lane swap definitely even looked like more of a possibility here. N-rated gone with a Doran's Ring for his Zillion to start it out. And if they're looking for lane swap, they might want to do an early invade to get some wards down.
Oh, flash in the cleaver misses. Uzi's gonna come around the side of this one, blocking out. That was really nice from Uzi, blocking the cleaver, knowing that he's got his jump available to get away.
The thing is, that does hinder their lane. Last time we saw this from Uzi, they, of course, like to get the early shot in the lane, leveling explosive shot. Now he's got his rocket jump. It will be a shove. That all being said, though, if the lane swap does play out, doesn't even matter.
Well, so,
ring around the rosy.
Where you going, Gideus? Now he's clear. Uzi's like, I don't fancy it. But level 1 rocket jump. That's forced him into that one. But while that's all happening, Cola and Insect are just like, that, we got it. We're going to take your red.
Yeah, they're pretty much expecting the move here from SK. The SK got some very deep wards in the jungle there to try and see where they'll shake out. Sneaky red steal, though. It does go unnoticed. SK didn't have defensive wards on this side, so Insect does get to start out at his opponent's red without giving away any intel. When Cola gets there, though, they'll see he's coming from that red side and at a delayed time, so Gilius can infer starting location.
Yeah, so keep our eye, see where he goes. Straight to red. Oh, but Insect. Nope, it's going to go blue. It's going to be a standard start. Boom.
Yeah, bit of a swap over there. Gilius moving in. Will be spotted, though, by that ward, so they know that Gilius is in there.
Oh, there it is.
Going for it.
Yeah, they could shove out their lanes, too. Let's see if how early they call this collapse. There's the ping. They're saying go now.
Spot him. Sonic Wave catches. Only on the red buff. That's going to delay him. Now Korn's going to be one. Didn't get the help from Jesus that he required. That does mean he's going to be starting a buff down, as Insect will be starting with 3 buffs.
It cost laner a little bit of experience, though. and a decent chunk of life as well. Let's see what Gilius does. Now that he's got no extra buff to go after, maybe he goes for an earlier gank. He does have his blue buff though, and that's the most important buff for him early so that he can clear easily through the jungle.
See what he goes for in this one. Certainly was more impressive in the last game. Then Rated going to take a lot of damage. Uzi dives in for that one. The ignite down from Zero, but they're not able to pick up a kill. Meanwhile, Candy Panda putting a lot of damage back. He flashed in for it, but wasn't able to get those last hits down.
Does draw the heal from Uzi, but that is going to be a summonerless support Janna. A little bit more vulnerable.
Let's check into that one. Rune Prison coming down. I don't think the damage is there, but Freddy might be in trouble and will be forced to recall with that one.
Very aggressive start from both sides. Zero low on hit points, and Rated low on hit points, but does have Ignite still. Of course, did start out with that Doran's Ring, so those bombs going to be doing more than your average support start, that's for sure. Teleport used by Freddy. He returns back to the top lane. Serious trading going on between the two junglers at the moment. You can see, of course, both taking the rates. We'll see whether they collapse on that mid lane. Bomb again on Uzi. Very low.
Look at this gank here from Gilius, though. He's got perfect moves, perfect positioning here on Uzi's lane. And they are summonerless. Remember, they burned Zero's flash in the level 1.
Oh, this is bad news. He's going to try and get in there. Howling Gale will knock him off. He's going for Zero, gets the kill. Kohler has TP'd down, but he's not got the damage. He can't finish up. Meanwhile, Gilius going for Uzi. He's going to go too deep. There is the jump from Insect in, and Korn joins in. It was actually Uzi that got the kill over it from Gilius.
Well, it was completely worth it. Gilius gets first blood money, plus he draws away all the solo laners. SK solo laners have 2 free lanes now, plus the teleport is going to be down for Cola to get back to that lane. Gilius just relieved a lot of pressure there.
But I would argue, after getting that first blood, he could have escaped. He could have just ran straight to his turret. Well, he would have still drawn everyone towards him.
Rise was in his way. Rise teleported in between him and his own turret.
But one person, is he going to stop him? He's only going to use that Rune Prism for a couple of seconds, then he can get away. Not sure on that one.
Well, one thing that we are at least sure on is that Uzi has now a pickaxe coming back into this lane. We'll see how that all works out for him. We can see that Enrated actually picking up that Mana Crystal as Insect is going to come down bottom. Enrated needs to be very, very careful here.
He's on his own.
Oof. He does not have good ward coverage either.
Or a flash.
They're completely blind.
Well, they're waiting this one out, so Candy Panda is actually going to get back in there. That wave going to be naturally pushing thanks to the explosive shot, but they're going to come out from this one. Howling Gale, oh, nice speed up there from Enrated. Gets Candy Panda away from that tornado coming flying in behind him.
And look at this choice from Candy Panda as well. He's gone for a very early lifesteal here, going Vamp Scepter to sustain through these constant trades. Zero and Uzi always trading in this lane. So he's going for the early sustain to try and sit through this one because Zillionizer support won't be able to help you.
You know, all of this trading back and forth, all this movement from Starhorn Royal Club has actually bought Jezz some time in that mid lane. And if you think about, obviously, when he played Bjergsen on Yasuo, it did not go well for him, so he's got himself a little bit of a reprieve so far. They both hit level 6, and we'll see whether he manages to hang on a little longer against Korn, because this is a matchup that has not gone well for him in the past either. At the moment, though, kept up in farm.
See if he can keep going on that front. Actually going for the Chalice first of all.
Insect's got the timer for this red, remember.
Gilius is actually pretty low here. Well, Insect having the timer, but I think realizing that it was probably there, decides not to push through.
And there's another trade down bottom, but there's another small little thing. Insect placed his pink ward in the back of that red bush before he actually walked into it. So he didn't know there was an SK pink ward there. And since that was already available before he placed that ward, SK now know where Insect already placed his pink ward. So it's not going to provide a whole lot of value for him. They can work around that information.
So, whoa, Candy Panda going down, he's got him! Uzi straight up taking him down, and Enraged now in trouble. One more hit should do it. Uzi gonna go down in the process. No, the shield. Oh, he saves him, and that's a double for Uzi.
Questionable aggression there from Candy Panda, going pretty deep onto Uzi. Maybe he got heel baited there, thought it was still down.
Yeah, completely mistimed it. 3 kills on Uzi now, on a Tristana. Yeah. Big problems for SK Gaming.
This is getting out of hand quick. That is not only a BF sword, that's BF sword plus pickaxe here for Uzi very early on.
Bad news for his bottom lane. And, you know, I said it in that last game where they face check, gave up first blood, struggled in the lane as well after that. But this should be the rock for SK Gaming in this scenario where they've got that substitute coming in. Insect. Well,
okay.
He got the kick, he dashed to the ward. Sadly for him, he kicked Jesus away.
Not quite the insect kick maneuver that we're used to, that's for sure. So Korn.
That's version 2, D-Man.
Next level.
This is...
Oh, this is tricky. This is tricky. SK going for this one. They know that Insect's kick is down. Korn's ultimate is, of course, available. They've got 3 members collapsing in on this blue buff. They got their own secured a moment ago. This might have to be a smite fight, and you can see Gilius takes it.
Blue buff steals are a pretty high percentage when you do have Syndra on your team too. They did a good job timing that one with the base of Cola. So they take a small window and they get the objective just in time. Good shot calling there from SK.
Bottom lane again, pressured 72 to 60 CS here. Favor of Uzi with those 3 kills that are the real problem for SK Gaming. You can see the damage that comes out of Uzi with that BF sword and pickaxe combo that he's got in there. Look in other areas though. Freddy doing an exceptional job in terms of farm, 87 to 61 CS, but Cola, you know, only going to be getting stronger tier and Catalyst in there at the moment. Meanwhile, Insect is having to move down. He's at Golems right now. Could end up coming in towards his bottom lane if they want to push out this turret. We'll have to have a seat.
Yeah, there's an important ward here in that side lane bush from the SK bottom lane. That will see a lane gank here if SK goes, but it does have 2 hits off of it. So Royal Club know there's a ward here, and they will alert Insect to try and work around it.
Ooh.
Or just recall.
Ready timing it right, or is he? That's the question. Turning it around. Korn getting jumped on. That wind wall doing itself a favor and stopping him was crucial. That could have been the mid lane going down, but Star Royal Club, they're trying to take advantage of this. They're going for Dragon. Gilius is going to find 0 here. The rest of Starhorn do claps on towards him. Gilius sidesteps there from the Sonic Wave, but he gets kicked in. And there's the ultimate from Korn. He held his nerve, and that will be Dragon for Royal Club.
There's that classic Lee Sin Yasuo combo. And you got to see there how it's such a big advantage when your bottom lane is constantly pushing up. They instantly collapse on the fight mid and roam up there. Candy Band is caught. Ooh, pink ward. He flashed before the pink ward went down there even.
And we saw the mastery of Yasuo from Korn as well, the dash behind the wind walls to stop that extra little bit of damage right at the end that possibly could have finished him off in that mid lane. Either way, it's Royal Club here taking the first Dragon of the match and sitting at 2,500 gold lead. This top lane, Freddy, as I said before, got a solid CS lead. We saw the trade back and forth, which for Freddy is not really that big of a problem because, as you can see, his ultimate regenerating right back up.
Yeah, Freddy's doing, once again, a magnificent job on this Mundo, farming extremely well. But we can't talk enough about the bottom lane of Royal Club. Whoa, Gilius jumping over the wall for this one. It looked kind of cool, but just a couple of slows, not enough.
Well, he did evolve his wings at level 6.
There you go.
That's one thing, you know, if we'd have seen maybe that from the last matchup, it could have been so much different, but no. Still 4-1 in favor of Star Royal Club. Big advantage in this bottom lane for Uzi.
Right, this is the second. Oh, gank towards mid. Can he get the knockup?
Oh,
easy.
Yes, he can.
Yeah.
Jez is going down here. Sonic Wave lands. Thank you very much. I'm going to steal that one for you. Kill secured.
Oh, bottom lane as well. Uzi trying to get a bomb on his head, but may have done enough. Enraged super low. Uzi actually had Flash and Eel. Zero had a Flash as well as an Ignite there, so possibly could have finished off. Maybe Insect will come around in time for this one. There is a ward in that Tri-Bush. There he's going to show himself. Candy Panda instantly hits the stealth. Can he land the Q? Oh, Candy Panda almost walked into that one.
Juked himself. Almost. That could be the turret. Star Road Club will take their first one of the game here.
Jungle invade continues though.
Oh, and he finds Gilius there, and this is going to be a close trade. Gilius, thankful that he evolved his wings so he can leap away to safety, and that is going to be the blue steal, or is it? Because Gilius and Rated and Candy Panda coming back around. Insect not quite close enough to get the steal. He will land the Sonic Wave and gets the steal secure.
Insect doing the right thing, playing off the bottom side of the map where they're strong. Second game in a row we see this bottom lane. Woo! Okay.
They found Enrated in there for that one. Insect lands his Q. His ultimate is on himself there, Enrated, so won't actually go down from that one. Insect almost being bombed to death in the end. SK trying to use the position in there to get this middle turret, and they will get it. That's the first one of the game for them.
It's a first of many. They're the first to take the tower down, and Star Road Club could have taken the objective earlier on. Candy Panda taking low. The Ignite is running. The slowdown on Uzi puts a couple more hits in him. Freddy now tower diving on here. He's going to get baited out. Oh, he's in trouble. He gets Cola, but it's the return kill. And that was double flash between them. Not sure it was worth it. It does, of course, wipe away the wave from Cola. So overall, bonus for him.
Yeah, definitely a good move there. He's able to kill. Whenever you're able to kill him under turret, they do lose out on way more experience. Freddy, though, he's really the shining light for SK. He is the one who's got the lead for them. That's where they should try and take control of this game. Maybe some more jungle attention. They can get down that turret, get some extra global gold. Here we go. Let's see. It's just going to be briefcase after briefcase, and then the ring around the Rosie. Good flash on that one, but Freddy's right back on top of you.
I'm not sure when SK Gaming were coming into this tournament whether Freddy envisioned playing Mundo for the first 3 matches back to back, but he's still doing a good job in terms of farm in that top lane. Has himself an advantage building. We saw how much of a monster he can be against the Type A Assassins on that champion. We'll see whether the rest of his team can keep up. So far, it is Starhorn Road Club with the advantage in kills, but still it's a tower to SK.
Gilius actually on the bottom side of the map once again here. Trying to stop out this Corn Wraith.
Oh, knock up there.
That's a level 12 as the 9.
Yeah, no follow-up from that, but could have done some good damage. Gilius was fairly close. Here we see Insect coming in once again, off to the one. TP's coming down as well. The Q from Insect hitting the minion there, and Gilius didn't thank his lucky stars because of that teleport from Cola. There was a lot of people around there with a good amount of damage. They might try and put down the damage onto the tower. Good wave clear from Jesus, though. That means force them off.
That was a bit forced there. I mean, that was probably an instance where they ping and say, go, and it doesn't work out. They lose a whole bunch of minions up top. Teleport's going to be down. There's nothing they can shove. The dragon's not up. They can't even prep for this one. So definitely a little bit of a misstep there. Royal Club trying to force something mid. Insect was standing on that ward, so the whole plan sort of turned around on them.
Yeah, and all they did is they took Jez's flash. Maybe we'll see whether it gets turned into a big advantage, but SK Gaming will be happy to keep that pressure on in the top lane, because Coda's starting to struggle in this one, but this bottom lane, this is becoming a serious problem right now. Infinity Edge already picked up by Uzi, and they're continuing to push it.
Almost 50 CS is a lead that Uzi's got there, and you know, you look at Royal Club and you say that Uzi, one of the biggest, he's not the biggest playmaker on the team, and Rated is going to get his ultimate pops here. They need to jump away. Candy Panda starts to move in. Gilius is there as well. They get the slow up to 0, and not sure they've got the damage here.
He's going to come off.
TP is going to be coming into that one. Freddy is behind them. Zero surely will go down from this one, although he's got him low. Gilius does get the kill, but will fall himself as well.
But it's not over yet, because Freddy's round the side here, and he splits off. There's 3 members of Royal Club coming around him. Insect chases him down, puts down the briefcase. Is he going to be able to walk past him? No, knocks into the ultimate. Has he got the heal regen to try and get out of this one? The rest of his team coming around the side. Caught, locked up, and taken down by Jesus. SK Gaming come out on top once again, just in time for Dragon.
Perfect timing for SK. Royal Club overcommit, committing everything onto Freddy, the juicy, juicy tank, the Fed member on the team, the one with all of the power for SK. Freddy takes the hits, he gets them the objective.
So where does that leave us then? Just, well, it's less than 2,000 gold at this point. We know SK Gaming stronger as the game goes on as a team generally. And the fact is here that Royal Club, we heard it in that last video, as we see that fight once again, that their problem lies in communication. And look at it, it was a messy turn of events from Royal Club.
Well, as we watch this unfold, this is like this is everybody starting to collapse here through the jungle, but they don't leave wards behind them. Royal Club doesn't leave any blue wards here through the jungle. So this is why they spend everything on Freddy. They think they've got him outnumbered. They're like, okay, this is great. 3 versus 1. We can surround this guy, we can burn everything, but all of the members of SK are still coming down. And when they finally get there, it's a beautiful stun from Jez's, and they can easily pick up the kill on the corn.
Uh-oh, he's dead.
Yep.
Whoa. Well done.
Yeah, not much to talk about from that one. 3 on 1, you land everything, he's going to go down. Jez is caught out of position. Look at this, Uzi and Cola coming in. Freddy this time will get knocked up. Has he got enough health? Has he got enough regen to survive? There's 5 of them up there. And he's taking a hell of a long time to kill them off, and Freddy survives it against 5 from Royal Club.
But look at the choice here. Candy Panda shoving mid this whole time. SK just trying to delay this whole team of Royal Club here. If they can keep them up here long enough, they're gaining mid-secondary turret.
They're taking a hell of a lot of damage here. The whole of Royal Club trying to back off, and SK not letting them. They're going to keep on pushing along the top lane. The bomb gone to 0 forces him back, and this is buying all of the time for Candy Panda to try and put all of the damage on the inner. Doesn't have the minion wave to finish it off, but great play from SK, and Freddy pulling the entire team to him once again.
Yeah, he's got some sort of magnetic field here. All of Royal Club, again, dumping a lot of abilities into Freddy, only to chase him under the turret and have to turn around because SK collapsed. They gain a little bit more back into this game. That being said, Royal Club still very much in the lead here, and Uzi has hit a very strong curve. He's gotten out of the trough from Tristana.
He got him. Oh,
flash. He does get the flash, so that's still a win for Uzi.
Oh, Cola here. This could be real dangerous for them. Ultimate is actually on Gilius, so he's not actually going to die. Insect in the meantime going to be flashed onto by Candy Panda. They kill him. They're going to kill Cola as well. SK turning up the heat.
They spend everything bottom. That's going to be the kills plus tower going down. Uzi can answer up top though. Royal Club will be able to get that top side. Will SK actually decide to keep shoving here because it's 2 shoving lanes for Royal Club to only 1 for SK?
I think they should. They're going to keep going. They're going to take down that turret. Remember, the inner's on next to nothing. Uzi will take that turret down. He's going to keep on going in the top lane. Freddy's held out, but they're collapsing in from the jungle. Are they going to get close enough? There's only 2 members here. This is tricky. Teleport is available for Cola if he can go for it. There he is. Teleport into the side bush. SK Gaming to go for this one. 0 the focus. He goes down. Cola in the next drop, but they're going to get on towards him. Gilius goes down. Candy Panda drops, and just like that, it's a double kill for Korn. He wants more.
And Raids are going to flash out brilliantly there from that one. Meanwhile, Uzi has taken down that top inner tower as well. Freddy not able to get there to defend that one, so a lot going on all over the map here. Nice closure by Royal Club down on the bottom side, able to get them the 2 kills as well.
Yeah, costly decision by SK to keep shoving down in the bottom lane. Uzi takes down turrets so quickly with his static shift for shoving the wave, and then the infinity attack damage for taking down those 2 turrets. Gets both of them in time, and he still has enough life to take the hits from Jez's. That's also, by the way, he's got his max rating of rapid fire fully maxed out now, level 5, so helping him take down those turrets that much quicker.
Freddy, CP.
Going in, Freddy comes around the side, they've got to follow, Jez is coming in as well. Can they lock on towards him? Korn's the man they want, but it may well be Insects. They're going to take a secondary prize. He uses the kick, catches out Jez. He's pulling everyone towards him. Meanwhile, the mid lane, they're going to focus in there. Candy Panda on towards him, locking up as much as they can. Candy Panda focused in, Zero and Cola on towards him on the tower. They're going to dive on this one. Have they got him? They have, and they turn it around. Zero uses the Monsoon, saves Cola's hit points, and they get themselves another kill.
And that's a great trade for Royal Club because they gain control of mid lane, getting down that mid.
Oh, Gilius, you're dead.
Well, that's interesting maneuver.
Don't know what he was thinking.
Look at that, he doesn't know himself what he's thinking. Hands on head, we saw it in the bottom right, and they lose it. They split up Cola. Cola's going down. They kill off Jez's. Freddy here, looking to be a hero. Who's he going to go for? Uzi there. Korn now joining in as well. They're going to try and kill off Freddy, but he's coming back. Uzi chasing Enrated to the top side. Here is Freddy back into it. Can he hold off on this one? He can.
Oh, they're all so low. They're all so low, and Candy Panda's back alive. Uzi's going to run away from this one. Freddy's going to continue chasing. Oh, he's got 3 members. He's tried to bait them in, but is it too much? I'm not too sure. Freddy does manage to get away, and just again, this game is wild.
This game is chaos, Steve, man. Constant skirmishes all over the map. Constant teleports trying to cut off different people on multiple sides. It's everybody not afraid to fight. At least we're enjoying the mid game here. Finally, some focus on the Dragon though. Vision for both teams, so we may see even more fights.
Stealing. Oh, that was really
quick
close.
attempt.
Well,
real close. Real close.
Second of 3 Dragons going to SK. Freddy, just incredible performance from him overall.
I have to say, I'm very impressed with SK keeping up in such a chaotic game. This is kind of where Royal Club thrive, and SK are almost there, toe-to-toe with them. They're answering back in many of the instances. A lot of times it is because so many of Royal Club's cooldowns are being dumped into Freddy. He's doing a good job soaking things up.
Gotta point out at this stage though, Gilius there, we saw him just completely, well, I'm not sure what he was thinking. Maybe. Yeah. And we saw that in the last game as well. Remember, in a turret with Jarvan as he dove into the team and ended up dying and they lose the turret. Those are the kind of mistakes that can end up costing you games. And a team like Royal Club aren't scared to really capitalize when there's a 5-on-4 in front of them.
All right, so it has calmed down a little bit here. But let's take a look at a couple of these items I do like from SK. Candy Panda's got both of his blades right now, so you do have to worry about that roaming Twitch if you're Royal Club and set up a little bit more ward coverage. Plus, they've got Jez's with a really early Zhonya's Hourglass for that Syndra in the mid, before he goes with Death Cap or before he goes with a Void Step, because there's been so many skirmishes across the map. If he's able to get off his active for the Zhonyas, then that can be the difference between life and death. Just buying a few more seconds for the rest of your team to collapse.
That ward's too
also
it's out of range of the pink ward there, so they didn't actually see that.
Also, it allows him to deal with the Yasuo combo here. If he can spam it in between knockups.
The problem is that Uzi is 6-0. He's flew past that mid-game low.
Oh yeah.
He's got himself the static shift, last Whisper and Infinity Edge. Nearly 100 CS advantage over Candy Panda, gigantic.
A full
differential between them, yeah. And this is the problem, because they're so far ahead, they can take this Baron down.
Gilius is nowhere to be found. There's no smite to answer this.
Yeah, and that's with vision. SK's ward at the back was out of range of the Royal Club pink, so Royal Club didn't know that ward was there, but SK, Gilius had gone back, no smite available. It was actually on cooldown anyway, so he was obviously off doing something in the jungle before that one got started. Well, that's a big pickup here for Royal Club.
Yeah, that right there, that could be the nail in the coffin. This Tristana right now is getting out of control. Uzi's even picked up a defensive item. He's got the Negatron Cloak, which he may turn into Quicksilver Sash for a quick answer to a long-range stun from Jez's. But yeah, he has the 3 main damage items already.
There's a massive question. Really, lack of judgment. I'm not too sure what was going on Gilius there. There was 0 pressure on them. You know, they were just farming out, clearing out the waves, and for some reason he decided, I got to go back to buy this item right now when Freddy clearly already pointed out that they're in the pit. They're trying to bait this one out. Something is going to go down now. Guys, we need to be on point. He was in the base.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the World Championships here, and a player who's drafted in at the last second.
Tricky.
Yeah, you don't want to take that fight,
no.
Defender. You know, brought in at the last second with no real experience. He's qualified for the LCS now, of course, but no experience that can prepare him for anything like what he's experiencing here at Worlds.
All right, so as everybody starts to group up and we see this siege from Royal Club.
Whoa!
Oh! Well, the Zillion ultimate's on him, but...
Can he leap away?
You were talking about extension earlier on. He can't do it. Uzi gets the reset, goes for Candy Panda. There is Freddy once again.
They can
on the backside, trying to do this. Insect, he's tanking on the turret there. May go down. Jesus, though, is low. There is Freddy killing off one. Jesus will, in fact, fall, but Cola may go down as well as Freddy comes back in. There's the monsoon. The heal's coming out, and they kill off Freddy. They get him, and Cola did die there in the end. I think it was the tower hit that got him.
Tower hit finished him off, and that's the ace. That's the aggression that Star Road Club have been looking for, and it was all once again the insect kick. It finally worked.
Yep, didn't even get time to set it up. There it was, the insect kick, and you get the Zillion ult on top of him. But yes, can't extract your member from deep inside of the Royal Club. Here he goes. This time pulls off the flash to ensure the kick. Instant reaction from the entire team. And his legs are not strong enough to hop out of there. Uzi, though, he's going to jump right back in and follow up. Wow, that burst onto Candy Panda almost eliminated him from the fight. What it did do was leave Uzi vulnerable for Freddy here in the back line. This was the only thing that SK were getting out of this was Freddy. He picks up one here, then he almost gets Cola, and the turret will finish him off in the end. The whole team comes to try and save Cola, but he just takes that one step down into turret range.
So we're back in the game. Let's see how that has turned things around. Of course, that was a Baron up. Royal Club moving in. That is now timed out. And SK Gaming are looking to try and get something here. Freddy once again drawing all of the aggro. SK coming around the side. The stun on Cola. Not going to happen. Freddy locked up, taking a hell of a lot of pair damage this time around. He may even need the ultimate coming out of N-rated. He's just getting burst down so quickly. No matter how tanky he is, you can't fight this team. They are so far aheady right now. They're jumping in again.
Freddy gonna go low from this one. What are they gonna do? There is a kickback from Insect. They do get him finished, but again, the ultimate out of N-rated. He comes up with no more tail left. Can they get it? They do get it. Stun coming out from Jesus. It's Uzi that gets himself his 8th kill of the game. And they're going to be knocking right on the base. Zero going to heal them all up.
Yep, round 2.
Oh, he's dead. Jesus scored out. The Zonius isn't enough. No, he just about gets taken down. Insect. Gilius leaps in. Insect burning. Oh, no, he survives. Gilius wants it. He gets it. He takes down Insect, but at what cost? That is the question. Candy Panda and N-rated. They've had to go back to Fountain. They're rushing back to this tower to try and save it. 3 members of Starhorn Royal Club pushing in. They will take down the turret, and SK will lose their first inhib of the game.
They're going to look to make a play here, though. Gilius is stuck around this backside. He's still waiting for them. He jumps over the top. What? He jumps too deep. He went too far back, and he ended up going down. Uzi picks up kill number 9. A bit of a comedy of errors there at the end.
A valiant effort, I guess. He was looking for the reset just to snag a quick kill and get out. But man, I'm glad we've got 2 play-by-plays for this one. Back up and goes down for round 2. SK doesn't deal a lot of damage while Freddy is soaking up everything from Royal Club. There's just not a lot of extra threat here being put out by the rest of the members. What a shot there. And the last seconds on this will not be enough.